What is leadership for you? How would you define it?
Um, I would say it's about our ability vis-a-vis other people. So let's imagine you are able to manage yourself, you have good self-awareness, good self-control. And then when it comes to being a leader towards other people, it means that people are then following you. Whether you want them to follow you or not, they naturally follow you. And that has to do with your ability to influence and to impact something that resonates with what they are seeking. So, in being a leader, what we are doing is essentially sometimes you are educating people, sometimes you are motivating them, sometimes you are inspiring them, and sometimes it goes so far that you're even transforming them. So there are different levels in terms of the impact you can have on the people who are following you and who consider you a leader. Because we may consider ourselves a leader, but if nobody is following us, then it's an oxymoron in a way.
What would you say is the top 3 problems that they normally face?
I think the top 3 problems, as I just said, we can take the problems and transform them into challenges or projects. And I think it has to do with the skills of the leader. Okay, so remember when I gave my keynote, we had like 5 areas. We had the vision, first of all, we had the strategy, then we had the process and plans, we had the people, and then the performance. And if you use that image, you would see that you have visionary leaders, the ones who can see where they want to go. And many leaders are good at this. It's a sort of innate trait. If you look at the world's leaders, the ones that come to mind, Gandhi, JFK, they all had a strong vision of the future. So that's one thing. A lot of leaders have that vision, but a core skill to be able to overcome and to make that real is the ability, first of all, to communicate that vision. And that's why most of the leaders that we remember are the ones who can stand up and deliver a strong message of that vision to motivate and inspire people to follow them. And if we have leaders who are not ready to work on their communication skills in terms of speaking to their people, whether it's virtually or live in person, if that part of leadership is not strong enough, and I have failed there in the past also, so I know very well the importance of that, then that's the first step. If you cannot inspire your people on that vision, then the rest would not necessarily fall into place. So that's the first problem. The second problem we already addressed just now, it's with the strategy. And a strategy is, most people would go on most teams, even multinationals, would go off for a strategy retreat once a year. And then they would package that nicely in a slide set, and then it would not be revisited until the next year in most cases. As business owners, we probably fall into the same trap. But that, again, alertness to be able to go in and revisit your strategy with your executive team, with your sub teams, with your lower hierarchical level teams. This is so important, regardless of the size of the business. And for that, you need dedicated staff who have, a keen eye on what's happening. And that's a lot of companies now have dedicated staff for that because they've learned, but still it's a major problem and it's more and more needed. And the rest is on operational excellence. If you are not able to give your team the right resources to be able to deliver, then people would struggle. And again, the human touch, you can have everything in place. If you're not able to have that emotional intelligence, is a big word, but that's self-awareness, social awareness of your company, where it's going, all those soft skills, or shall we say core human skills. Some people don't like the terminology soft skills. If those are not in place, then you would find the leader struggling to keep the people on board, or the people go off in different directions because they are not engaged. So there are many things within that, but if I were to highlight the three major areas, they're not individual problems. The three major areas, those are the three: the vision, revisiting the strategy, and then the resources for the people.
What are the important leadership capabilities and skills that you have to have in the next normal to continue to lead effectively? And there you've actually mentioned about coaching, mindset, emotional intelligence, and creativity. Is there anything more that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think, you are a training solutions company, Marilyn, and I think you're doing great work with your team. I would say, however, it's not a one-off thing.
Exactly.
I've had trainings where we go off for 3 days and we really learn a lot. But then to implement that as a habit for the leader, the right infrastructure needs to be in place. And one of my mentors is Robin Sharma, and he says that, there are studies done in the UK, you need like 66 days to change a habit, to change a behavior in terms of your personal growth, or to implement something. And the first 22 days, it's really difficult. And in the middle, it's messy, and you want to quit and you don't want to do this anymore. But he says at the end, it's beautiful and gorgeous at the end. So when we offer these trainings and workshops to people who need it as leaders or even as individual contributors, because everyone is a leader, it's important to ensure that there is some sort of program to help them to sustain and implement what they're learning. Otherwise, it's just, I tick a box, I have my notes, I have my pack from my training, I put it in my report in terms of my CV and so on, and I'm ready to go. But in practice, we have the knowledge, but we don't have the applicability.